Let's start with a quick recap of some of the more interesting news from the world of IT. Joining me this month is Pluralsight author Tim Warner, who's providing our news update. Take it away, Tim.
As you know, Apple and the U.S.'s Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, have been at loggerheads the past several weeks. The San Bernardino shooter, Syed Farook, had a pin-protected Apple iPhone 5C. In other words, evidently, Mr. Farook had set the preferences of the iPhone such that if you didn't enter the correct personal identification number X number of times, it would wipe the device. So clearly the FBI wanted to get access to the phone to gain any necessary or present intelligence. And Apple was in a tough position and is in a tough position because their cloud services are based on trust with their customers. So up till very recently, they were at a standoff. The latest news concerning the situation is that the FBI reportedly paid professional hackers a one-time fee for an exploit. So I guess that the FBI now presumably has full access to Mr. Farook's phone. To be perfectly candid with you, I myself wonder, how do you know whether an iPhone is configured with that auto wipe feature? I've been an iPhone user for several years, and just picking up a phone, I can see that it's protected with a PIN, but I don't know for sure how the preferences under the hood are set. Wouldn't it be something if the FBI paid this hacker group an enormous sum of money and the hacker group determined that there was not a timeout or a limit after which an auto wipe occurred? I don't know. But what we do know is that FBI Director James Comey said that the exploit works only on a narrow slice of iPhones, specifically 5C and earlier models. In the Apple iPhone 5S and later, the encryption engine has been moved into hardware, so it evidently is much more robust and not reachable by this exploit. It's also unclear as of this moment whether the FBI will share the exploit with Apple so that they can fix it on their end. Now, I certainly, being an outsider, can understand both points of view. Apple is a for-profit business, and like I said, any kind of cloud service is going to involve trust with customers. I'm going to reduce my trust with Apple if I see that they can create a master unlock that can presumably unlock anybody's phone. The FBI, on the other hand, is looking to gain as much intelligence concerning terrorists as possible, and so they feel that businesses should play along with them in the name of national and international security. In conclusion, it appears that we have an underground business market in selling exploits for zero-day vulnerabilities. We can call it a cyber black market if we want. Facebook chatbots. At the recent F8 Developer Conference, that's Facebook's own technology conference for programmers, Facebook announced their chatbot application programming interfaces. Now, what does this mean? This feature is called Bots on Messenger, and it extends their own Messenger application. Facebook Messenger is a mobile application that allows Facebook users to, well, chat with each other outside of the Facebook.com website. Remember that Facebook purchased WhatsApp, which is the #1 messaging application, so Facebook wields a pretty big hammer in this space anyway. The bots refer to computer programs that simulate humans. Think on your smartphone, you may have Cortana on a Windows phone or a Windows desktop computer. We have Siri in the Apple world, Google in the Android world. The chatbot is the next generation of that, where people can interact with businesses in a personalized way at scale, all by using plugins or extensions to the Messenger application. For instance, you may be shopping for a present for your 6-year-old daughter. You could just send Target, let's say, their bot, user-friendly questions, and you'll almost feel, presumably, like you're communicating with a live human being. This makes sense for big businesses because they don't have to pay live human beings to fetch this information for customers. The APIs mean that Facebook is inviting developers from around the world to get on board with building these automated bots, which in turn will be consumed by businesses of all size all around the world. Now, of course, any newly announced technology is going to have growing pains. As of this recording, in April 2016, the Facebook chat box don't yet support credit card payments through the app, and of course, there always will be, at least according to what Facebook said at F8, an option to go to a live chat for people who aren't comfortable communicating with a computer. Finally, we have PowerShell Malware. This buzzword refers to ransomware written in the Windows PowerShell scripting automation language. Ransomware is malicious software that will encrypt user data on your computer so you can't get to it. And in order to get the unlock key, you have to pay the developers or the users of the malware a one-time fee. It's criminal activity, no question about it. And what's novel for some is that it's using, in part, Windows PowerShell, which is ubiquitous in the Windows platform, both for Windows desktop and Windows server computers. The way that this PowerWare malware works, it's vectored through a Microsoft Word macro. Now, fortunately, recent versions, since at least 2007, of Microsoft Office disable macros by default. So as long as you have those settings and you're educating your users to be careful about allowing macros to run, that should circumvent the problem. But anyway, if the macro does in fact run by the user opening up the document and allowing it to happen, the malware will spawn a hidden cmd.exe window, which starts an unrestricted PowerShell session, which downloads and runs a script from the internet that encrypts most of your user data. And again, you have to pay several hundred to maybe thousands, depending upon who did it, to get the unlock key and get access to your computer. It's not a joke. That said, this shouldn't be surprising. Malware has historically been about people trying to make money in one way or the other. The fact that we're using macros dates back to the earliest days of malware. The fact that we're using PowerShell, and it's not a surprise because people who write malicious software look for the largest common denominator. And as I said, any Windows system is going to have PowerShell installed. It's actually pretty darn difficult to uninstall PowerShell, if not nearly impossible nowadays. So this underscores the basic bread and butter security principles of proper user education, restricting macro use with productivity applications, and PowerShell itself has several built-in fail-safes that allow you, for instance, to force a particular script execution policy on a system.